All right, guys, welcome back into the program this morning. I've been waiting for this interview all week long. We have Rick Ernst on the phone this morning. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. We're dodging a tropical storm down here, so we're doing fine. Where are we talking to you from this morning?
I'm in New York. It's nice and sunny here. Cindy's giving you some problems, though, huh?
Oh, Cindy. She's just, first day of summer was yesterday, and we have a tropical storm here in Louisiana. But, all right, let's get started. Rick, let's talk about Getting Thrashed. I've been excited. My husband is a thrash metal huge fan, so this was exciting for him. It was released in 2006 and 2007. Get Thrashed. Tell us about your work on that film, documentary.
Yeah, I mean, the film is essentially, the story of how bands of like Metallica and Megadeth and Anthrax went from playing their friends' backyard barbecue parties to headlining, the Superdome in Madison Square Garden. And essentially, I'm a huge fan. I grew up on this music. And in the early 2000s, after working at MTV for many years, I looked around and I saw different genres of music that were getting, respect from books and from films. And I thought, hey, what about thrash metal? Metallica, the biggest band in the thrash metal scene, really, were very influential, as were some of the other bands, but nobody ever really gave them props. They were kind of dismissed. So I thought, who better than a super fan like myself with a little bit of a production background, having worked at MTV and on Headbangers Ball, to go out and do this film. This was before the days of Kickstarter and GoFundMe, so I went out there with a camera and my lights and my mics and my wallet and the paycheck and traveled around the country and filmed interviews with these bands and archival footage, and Get Thrashed was born in 2002.
And you're right. I mean, thrash metal was dismissed, and it's always kind of been this undertone, where others are bright in the spotlight. And, I saw one of the clips was, one of the band members saying, "Oh, Motley Crue, boo, Bon Jovi, boo," because they went unrecognized for so long. Why do you think that is?
It was such a fast, hard, and heavy music. It was like the ugly stepchild of, hard rock or even glam metal at the time. So, a lot of people, didn't like it. I mean, honestly, when I first heard the music, a friend handed me a mixtape. I didn't like it. I was into Maiden and Priest and Black Sabbath, and, I thought this is never going to go anywhere, this music. Nobody can even understand what they're singing about. It's too fast, too crazy. My initial reaction was probably the reaction a lot of people had, and it never had any really mainstream success until Metallica and a few other bands broke through. But just like my initial reaction, I was kind of repulsed and afraid. It was too fast, and I didn't think it was really worth another listen. Fortunately, me, along with thousands and maybe millions of others, gave it a second listen, and it really stuck once you gave it a chance.
It does. And one of the things about thrash metal, and my husband and I talk about this, if you separate the vocals from the riffs and all that, there is some brilliant, brilliant music being made.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of the musicians, thrash metal musicians, are the best players in the world. I mean, Metallica being the biggest band in the scene, we can talk about them. And Kirk Hammett was taught by, a famous guitar player, Joe Satriani. I mean, the really, really, really amazing players in thrash metal. Guitarists, drummers, doing things that when you sit down and watch what they're doing with their fingers, with their feet, with their hands, incredible.
And not to, take away from him, but, everybody says, oh, Eddie Van Halen's the best, guitarist around. And then when you look at these guys, you're like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these bands growing up, they were inspired certainly by Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen's playing, and they, wanted to take that to another level, and a lot of them did. And that's one of the main things about thrash metal. When you look at it just from a pure music standpoint, these are some of the best musicians in the world. They really are. They really are.
Right. Well, promoters nowadays, I've noticed that kind of a lot of these bands are now together, like at festivals and moving around. You think that they get a lot more impact doing it that way now?
I do. I mean, I really think that the thrash bands, after all these years of, fighting in the underground, now have established definitely a lot more of the established bands, Anthrax, Megadeth, they can basically play wherever they want. They do these festivals. They can do small clubs. They've almost reached the status, I wouldn't say quite of like a Maiden or an Ozzy, where they can play anywhere at any time, but they really now have the option of not worrying about having to sell out a club, or on a Tuesday night in a small town in the Midwest, are they going to have a problem bringing in people? A lot of them are just established artists now, in some ways similar to like classic rock or classic metal artists, and that's a great thing to see, that they paid their dues and it's paid off.
Right. Well, the other day I was talking to some members of Styx, and we talked about this generation, the new generation, getting the music of the old school. And I find that a lot with the thrash metal is that the younger generation is getting it as well.
Yeah, it's great to see that, and I would assume it's the parents that are passing down those CDs to their kids. However they're finding the music, though, it's pretty incredible. You can go to, whether it's a Maiden show, a Metallica show, you talk to some of the younger kids, and they have the most recent stuff. But the most recent stuff takes them back to the album before, and the album before, and before you know it, they've got the whole Megadeth collection, the whole Anthrax collection, and they've also adopted, I've noticed, somewhat of the wardrobe stylings with jeans, ripped jeans, and high top sneakers, and denim vests with patches. So it's great to see that they've embraced the music and the culture and the fashion as well.
I love it. Well, on my birthday this year, June 6th, Lightyear Entertainment and Sony re-released your Get Thrashed. So that's exciting. Have you had a lot of feedback from it?
Yeah, it's incredible to think that we released this film, 10 years ago or whatnot, and I just assumed everybody heard about the film and they maybe had it or saw it, but there are people, just like you mentioned, the younger kids discovering thrash metal. There's a whole new audience out there that didn't know about the film and that's checking it out and discovering it, and I think really enjoying it. So this is kind of just like, being born again, with the re-release. It's really amazing that, thrash metal, I've discovered when we did film festivals. I went to different cities around the U.S. showing the film, and I thought, oh my God, if I go here or there, will people appreciate the film like they do in the epicenters of where thrash were born, New York, L.A., and they did. And then I went overseas, and I thought, will people appreciate it in Germany or in Belgium or in Scandinavia? And they did. It's incredible. And now it's not only bridged the gap of different cities and different states and countries, it's bridged the gap of time, because 10 years after the release, people are still excited, to be taken back to 1986 to see this scene and this vibrant music and culture. And it's really, I got a big smile on my face just thinking about it.
Right. And you were on the forefront. You were smack dab in MTV during the 80s when, it was all happening. How was how was it at MTV?
I got to MTV actually just in the early 90s.
Oh, okay.
So when it came to the 80s MTV, but Headbangers Ball was still on, and it was incredible in the sense that, being a thrash metal fan, thrash metal bands were just starting to be played on Headbangers Ball. They still played the more mainstream stuff, but they were starting to, accept the Anthrax and the Slayer and the Megadeth and even the heavier bands. I think at one point when I was there, I was very excited because they dedicated like the final hour of Headbangers Ball. It's like 1 to 2 a.m., but whatever, into the pit. It was all the heaviest Testament, Overkill type bands, and it was a lot of fun, and it just is a time that I don't know if will ever come back, at least on TV, because people just go to YouTube and they can watch videos whenever they want. But to be gathered around a TV, at midnight or whatnot on a Friday, Saturday night for Headbangers Ball, just to see those videos. That was a special time. It was a special place. I enjoyed my time at MTV, and it gave me the tools to make this film. It really was like going to college, going to grad school.
That's right, and I remember staying up waiting for it. Rick Ernst, look, good luck with your encore re-release of Get Thrashed, and we wish you the best of luck. Come back and talk to us anytime.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.